Hey, I got a question for you. Why wouldn't you want to enter into a contract with Wolverine? Because of his retractable claws? Yo, what's up everybody? It is I, your friendly neighborhood comic book reviewer, Steven Savelli, representing hashtag NerdSwag, and I am here today to bring to you the staple stash for comics that were released on May 7th, 2014. Today I have 3 comics from DC and I have 4 comics from Marvel. No Image, no IDW, no Dynamite, no Boom today. Only have the big 2 on my poll list this week, so let me give you the quick rundown. Up here we have our little hashtag NerdSwag logo. You can click on that to subscribe to the channel, and down here we have our links to our Facebook and our Twitter pages. Basically, we want to build a community where we can hang out and talk to people that have the same interests as us. I personally do a lot of comic book reviews, and my man Ashton does anime and manga. And we'll be doing a lot more movies and other nerd-related news as our channel grows. But we want to build a community where we can hang out and chat and talk about the stuff we love and debate it. So anyway, I'm going to get right into these comic book reviews. So we're going to start off with Marvel, and we're going to go ahead and start with Cyclops #1. This was written by Greg Rucka with art by Russell Dodderman, and the colorist was Chris Sotomayor. And I want to give a shout out to the colorist in here. I normally don't. I usually just do the artist and writer, but this comic book, the visuals were just epically amazing. I love them so much. So what this is we have Cyclops from the past who was brought to a present time in the Battle of the Atom story. Well, before that, but this is the end result of the Battle of the Atom and the Trials of Jean Grey story arcs. We start off with Cyclops, like I said, from the past, who's in present time. He has found out that his dad is still alive. Corsair from the Starjammers. He finds out that he's still alive, and he makes the decision at the end of the trial of Jean Grey to leave Earth and go off in space and go on an adventure with his father. And that's what this Cyclops comic is. This isn't Cyclops from the Uncanny X-Men. This is past Cyclops. He's 16 years old, and he's out doing a space adventure with his father. So that's what this first issue's about. It basically is Scott getting familiar with his father's team, the Starjammers, out in space. They get attacked, of course. Why wouldn't they get attacked out in space in the first comic? By the Badoon. After Cyclops and his dad go and destroy the Badoon ship, they make a decision to together go off on a journey in space by themselves. That is a little bit of a spoiler for this comic, so I apologize for not giving a spoiler alert, but I just want to give up the sum of this book for people that didn't buy it. It's going to turn out to be Corsair and Scott going together, just the 2 of them, not the Starjammers. Just the 2 of them are going to go out on an adventure. I think it's going to be really amazing. I want to start off with this book this week because this was a shocker for me. I was absolutely floored by this comic. The art is fantastic. There are some amazing splash pages. The first page opens up with a great panel that I really appreciated. And what I like about this the most is the interaction between the father and son of Corsair and his son Scott. This at least starts off as a very productive father-son interaction. There's not like this weird resistance from Scott. He's more wanting to be like his dad and not wanting to be like Scott from the present. As we know, who's running the Uncanny X-Men, the man that killed Professor Xavier. He has seen what he's going to become in the future, and he doesn't like that. And he sees his father as an admirable space pirate hero guy, and it's everything he dreamed of as a kid. And what he dreamed of is what his dad is. So he's really just finding out that his dad is his hero, and that's who he wants to grow up to be. this isn't like a sad father-son interaction book. This seems like it's going to be some great character building and development for these two to grow really close together. Anyways, I really like this comic. I'm going to give the writing on Cyclops #1 a 9.5 out of 10, and I'm going to give the art on this a 9 out of 10. I really appreciated this comic. I love that we get a story of a father and son that isn't destructive. It's actually a happy ending. And the last page has great dialogue between the father and son about how no one's good at being 16. Like, you don't have to have the world figured out. And his dad tells him, like, I'm here for you to help you through this. So, really good book. Highly recommend it. If you're going to pick up one book this week, I would say Cyclops #1, especially if you're an X-Men fan. All right, next up from Marvel, we have Moon Knight #3. Now, this is written by Warren Ellis with art by Declan Shalvey. I've reviewed issues #1 and 2, and I've described them both as kind of one-shots. There isn't a story arc happening. This is kind of just, at least in the first 2 issues, this is us just kind of getting familiar with the Moon Knight character. Awesome books. As one-shots, they are epically amazing. The art style is fantastic and the writing is brilliant. That's not a knock on this book. Issue #3 is a one-shot too, except for the very ending. This issue is called, I think, The Box. I don't know where I read that. Maybe it's not. I feel like this issue is called The Box. I feel like that's in this book, and maybe I'm wrong, but I think it is. This feels like a one-shot again, but I am freaking stoked on Moon Knight right now. Mark Spector is the man. This comic is him trying to stop these punk rocker ghosts that are attacking people in the city. He gets attacked by them. He goes to punch them and punches right through them because, well, they're ghosts. So he goes back to his crib and he's trying to figure out, like, how am I supposed to stop these ghosts? I can't touch them. And then he's talked to by who I'm guessing is the Khonshu, the ancient Egyptian deity that gave him his powers and resurrected him. And he figures out that to fight the dead, he has to dress in Egyptian clothing that they wore to talk to the dead, and work with the dead and stuff like that, which makes a ton of sense. So Mark Spector goes into his like Egyptian archive where he's bought a bunch of stuff, and he puts on like a skeleton bone armor. And this skeleton bone armor, once he puts it on, it's got this giant like bird beak on the front. He's just layered in white bone. And once again, it looks fantastic. The contrast between a colored background and Mark Spector as Moon Knight always being black and white with little shading. So he puts on this bone outfit, and by doing that, he's able to punch, kick, and attack these ghosts. And they're not ready for that. Anyway, that's what this comic's really about. That's it. Like I said, once again, not a lot of character development. It's basically just a one-shot story, except for the very ending. It's called The Box because Mark Spector finds a box. And I'm assuming this is going to launch into an actual story arc, which has me pumped up. But some great panels in here, again, by Declan Shalvey. I keep talking this guy up every time I read these comics, these Moon Knight comics, but I love when I can read 2 pages with not one word being spoken, and it's just the art telling the story, and that's what we get in this book for a few pages. And it's brilliant. It's absolutely amazing. So I'm gonna give the writing on Moon Knight #3. I'm gonna give it a 7 out of 10. I had a wonderful experience. There was good writing, but there's not a lot of depth to it. So I'm gonna give it a 7 to be fair compared to Cyclops and compared to other comics I rate higher. The writing's not bad, it just doesn't have those extra things that add up points to get it to a 10. So I'm going to give the writing a 7, and I'm going to give the art a 9 out of 10. Judging by my review, there's no way I was going to give it less than a 9. I think it's It's utterly fantastic, and it's great visual to look at. Moon Knight number 3. All right, next up I have Iron Fist, The Living Weapon, number 2. Now this is written by Kara Andrews, and this also has art by Kara Andrews. I reviewed the first Iron Fist, just like Moon Knight, blown away. This is a really solid comic book. What's cool about this is Kara Andrews, like I said, is the writer and artist. So he controls from start to finish everything this comic book's going to be, what it's going to look like, what it's going to feel like, what the panels are the panel layouts are going to be. When you turn the page, he can plan what's going to be on the next page, which you would do as a writer and artist already. But what's great about this is as he's writing it, he can lay out what it's going to look like, which I believe definitely helps your writing skills and techniques. So Iron Fist number 2 starts off where number 1 ended, and number 1 ended with Iron Fist getting, well, attacked by undead ninjas. So Daniel Rand, Iron Fist, he was hanging out with this chick. He gets attacked by ninjas. He finds out at the end someone from Kunlun, which is the city where he got his powers, was in his apartment to tell him he needs to go back to Kunlun because something is bad happening there. So this comic is really just Daniel Rand as Iron Fist getting back to Kunlun to find out why he needs to go there and why he's been attacked by ninjas. And while he's on his way to go to Kunlun, we get background of actual, I think, it flashed back to yesterday. Flashed back to yesterday in Kunlun, and we find out a little backstory of what's going on there that's bad that needs Iron Fist to come back to, because Iron Fist is their legendary warrior. He's the one that killed the dragon and absorbed the powers. So we flash back to yesterday. Something bad happens in Kunlun, and as that's leading up to what is happening bad, that also is paralleling when Iron Fist is getting to Kunlun, and it culminates in the end where he actually sees what is happening that's wrong in his town of Kunlun. That's what happened in this book. It didn't blow me away like issue number 1 did, but this issue is necessary for there to be a reason for Iron Fist to go to Kunlun. Obviously, you have to do a little build up. He can't just show up and start fighting fools. Like, there needs to, we as readers need to understand why he's going there. So that's what this book is. We get a little more backstory on his father. We found out in issue 1 his dad died while they were climbing up to get to Kunlun, and we find out who actually killed his dad and the motives behind that. So that's very interesting. I'm going to give the writing on Iron Fist, The Living Weapon, a 8 out of 10. And I'm going to give the art on Iron Fist a 7 out of 10. The art, it's not worse than the first one, but it just didn't hit me. It didn't hit me in the chest like the first one did. So that's why I'm giving it that score. All right, and last up from Marvel, we have Original Sin, number 1 out of 8. This is written by Jason Aaron with art by Mike Deodato. This is called Who Shot the Watcher. Jason Aaron's my favorite comic book writer right now. Plain and simple. So of course I went into this with giant expectations of what Original Sin was going to be. Now, with those giant expectations of him writing a few of my favorite books out, I would say that this fell a little short of my expectations. But it was not a bad comic. This was an amazing comic. If you read The Watcher number 0, where Mark Waid writes Uatu, the Watcher, and Nova interacting together, that backstory is very necessary, I believe, to reading Original Sin. So if you didn't get Original Sin number 0, written by Mark Waid, I'll definitely pick that up. But we've all known from the advertisements that the Watcher dies. I mean, on the cover it says, "Who shot the Watcher?" and you see his feet. So we know the Watcher dies, and his all-seeing eyes have been stolen. That's what this book is going to be about. It's going to be about finding out who the murderer of the Watcher Uatu is. And we have 2 groups right now investigating this murder. We have the Avengers group, and that's Wolverine, Black Widow, Captain America, Thor, Iron Man, and Nick Fury. Now, that is Caucasian white Nick Fury, old retired Nick Fury, not Samuel L. Jackson, ultimate African American Nick Fury. So that's an interesting play that they're taking the old retired white Nick Fury and bringing him onto this team as a murder investigator. So that's the Avengers team. And the other team that's investigating this murder is kind of a hodgepodge team put together by somebody that we don't know who it is yet. We don't know who it is who put this team together, but we do know who the team is. And we do have a few Avengers in this. So we have this is the second team. Well, they're not really a team. The second investigating group of the Watcher's murder. We have Black Panther, Ant-Man, Emma Frost, Doctor Strange, Punisher, Winter Soldier, Moon Knight, and Gamora. That's team or investigating group number 2. And then also in this comic, we see The Thing and Spider-Man. They're not in one of these investigating groups. They fight one of the mindless ones, which is one of those robotic drone characters. So I just threw out a slew of comic book superheroes. But what this is going to be about is Uatu was killed on the moon. That's where the Watcher's base was. Only a few amount of people know where the Watcher even is, or that the Watcher even exists, and where he lives. So the group that knows is mostly heroes. There's a few villains that know where he lives, but mostly heroes know where he lives. So it's going to be very interesting to find out if a superhero might have killed the Watcher to get his all-seeing eyes and steal some of his weapons from all around the universe that are very destructive, or if it's going to end up being a villain. I would prefer if it was a hero that did it, who had maybe good intentions, but is kind of a vigilante who's going off rogue on their own to make this happen. And hopefully this will turn out to be something like that. I don't want it to just be pegged on a villain. It'd be really fun if, by the title Original Sin, makes it sound like someone that was good, if you want to go biblically or whatnot, someone that was good or was meant to be good, made the decision to do something wrong on purpose because of greed or whatnot. So hopefully it's a hero. We know that Beast has messed with the space-time continuum for a while now. I'm not saying Beast is the one that did it, but he's in the middle of a lot of time stuff going on. And the Watcher visited him in one of the X-Men books and told him that he's messing up all the different universes and that he is the sole reason why millions and billions and trillions of people will die. So could it be Beast? I don't know. He's not in this book. I feel like obviously it's going to be somebody that's not in this yet. But we'll get down to the bottom of it. So this book really just goes over the clues of how the Watcher died. It sets up the two teams, and at the end of the book, we kind of don't really get a hint on who might be behind this, but we see some shadowy characters. The Illuminati, maybe? Huh? We'll see. This was a setup book, so obviously it can't be outstanding because it needs to set all the pieces on the board. You need all the pieces set before you can make stuff happen. So, I mean, it's not like stuff didn't happen. The freaking Watcher died in the first book, and there was a cool fight scene between the Thing, Spider-Man, and the Mindless One. I'm gonna give the writing on this a 9 out of 10. I think there was great story buildup in a one-issue comic. I think Jason Aaron did a fantastic job introducing all the key plot points. It all was cohesive and made sense. There was some shocking stuff that happened. There was some intrigue. There's some mystery. All that's already happening. So this is definitely a mystery thriller in a comic book, which is a little different for these summer blockbuster events. And I think the art by Mike Deodato, I'm gonna give an 8.5 out of 10. I really liked it a lot. Now, this giant splash page, I'm gonna find a picture of it. Hopefully I can put it on the screen. But epically amazing. I mean, this one page is worth the whole book. I would love this as a poster. Maybe I should buy a second copy and take the staples out and put it up on my wall behind me. Great stuff. All right, that's it for Marvel this week. Let's hop over to DC and get through these real quick. It'll be hard to talk about this comic fast. This is Detective Comics Batman number 31. Look at that freaking cover. Look at that cover. Dude, man, this is so tight. I'm loving this book. Now this is the storytellers on this. That's the phrases they're using. Is Francis Manapul and Brian Buccellato. Man, this is just really good. The cover is done by Francis Manapul, in case you were wondering. This story picks up where number 30 ended. This is a current story arc called Icarus. This is part 2. And last story ended with somebody who Mr. Wayne was hanging out with. She dies, Elena Aguilar. She dies by this mystery thing in the end of issue 30. It almost it's like this burning. It looks like she's got burning embers inside her body. It almost looks like Extremis from the Marvel universe. To be 100% honest, she looks like a dying Extremis soldier. But she dies at the end of 30, and this one picks up with investigators and detectives at Bruce Wayne's house, and basically in telling Bruce Wayne he's the prime suspect because he was the one who was with her last, Elena Aguilar. And the story arc's called Icarus because that is the drug that was put in her body that made her die. So now there's this Icarus drug that's hitting the street, and Bruce Wayne's the number one suspect for killing Elena. Obviously he didn't. That's Batman. He didn't kill Elena. So once the detectives leave, Batman goes out and tries to find the clues himself. The detective that's on this case, Bullock, his best friend, I think, one of his partners or his best friend, one of the two, I think a partner actually, died from Icarus. So he has an emotional tie to this. So he's like trying to prove, he's basically saying that Bruce Wayne's guilty and needs to be proven innocent instead of innocent until proven guilty. He's just jumping to the case that it's Bruce. And Batman, Bruce Wayne, he's trying to go out, find the clues, and give them to Bullock so Bullock knows. So Bullock can find out for himself what happened. He's trying to give a little clues to what the actual clues to the investigation are. So that's what this book's about. As Batman is trying to find out the clues and he's following them along, he runs into a villain named Sumo out at the what's it called? You know what I'm saying? Yeah, that's very descriptive. Batman goes out to the port. Oh my goodness, that's what I was trying to think of. The port with a bunch of containers. He's opening up containers and he's finding kids that are being transported. Basically, they're being trafficked. And he opens up one of the containers and Sumo's in there and he has this giant tiger tattoo on his stomach. And they fight and he gets out of Sumo where he's getting the Icarus, and he goes to follow that trail at the end of this comic. That's what happens in Detective Comics number 31. That's all I can give away without giving away the spoilers at the end of the book. But that's the plot synopsis. This continues to be a fantastic book. The writing is awesome. I feel like have Gotham and Batman down to a T. I think the storytelling is just great. And my goodness, the art on this book is so pretty. That's just the best way I could put it. It's gorgeous. Every single page, even pages where there's no action, I'm like, oh my goodness. These two guys, the Francis Manapul and Brian Buccellato, are destroying Detective Comics. Like I said, and when I reviewed number 30, I love that this comic could be bright and dark at the same time. We have dark blues, dark purples, and dark grays to black. And then we also have purples and light purples and yellows and pinks and red and oranges. And the contrast just pops, and I can't get enough of this book. Yes, I'm going to give the writing on this book a 9 out of 10. I'm going to give the art a 10 out of 10. If you want to read a Batman book, I'm telling you, go start at Icarus #1, buy Detective Comics #30, buy this #31, and enjoy this book. If you're buying Batman Eternal and you only have enough cashola to read one Batman book, buy this one. It's cheaper because it doesn't come out as often, and it is a much better story. All right. Next up, we have Future's End #1. Now, this is another one of DC's runs that they're starting along with Batman Eternal, where they're going to run for 52 weeks straight. Every single week an issue is going to come out. The price point's a little lower. It's $2.99. But I wanted to pick this up because it's the start of one of these giant runs, and how could I be a comic book reviewer and not review Future's End? This and Batman Eternal is one of the most hyped DC books out right now. Future's End #0 came out on Free Comic Book Day. If you didn't read that book, this book starts off super freaking confusing. Luckily, I read #0. But if I didn't and I just open this up, it says 5 years from now. And we have Terry, Batman Beyond, in the present and talking to Alfred with a mechanical AI attacking him. I would have no idea. So if you didn't go to Free Comic Book Day, get Future's End #0 and read it, which was still freaking confusing, you would have no idea how Terry went back in time. You'd have no idea that Bruce was the one that sent him, that the world was being destroyed by robots. You wouldn't know any of that. You would just... I wanted to hate this book. Let me say that first off. I read #0 and I had no interest in reading this. I bought this. I opened it up. I was like, this would be hella confusing if I never read 0. And I wanted to hate it. Lo and behold, by the end, I freaking liked this book. What this is Terry, Mr. Batman Beyond. He's not in present time. He's 5 years from now in the future. But he's back to stop the world from being taken over by AI. That's what he's here to do. And that's what we're following along. We follow him trying to figure out the clues on how to stop this from happening. And we also follow a few other characters. We follow a few out in space. And we follow Grifter, just for a few pages. Grifter's who's on the cover with the red mask. He's not the most known and popular guy, but we find him. He's out hunting. I think he's hunting aliens. Yeah, he's hunting aliens. This story does skip around a little bit. And at the back of the book, this story follows Firestorm, and it ends with a cliffhanger. Now this is a huge spoiler. I'm gonna give it away in this comic book review. If you don't want to be spoiled, go down in the description and click ahead to the Batman Eternal timestamp. By me talking right now, I've given you about 10 seconds to pause it and to click ahead or turn the volume down. So I'm going to say the spoiler at the end of this book, which I never do, because I want to maybe give you a reason to read Future's End. I ended up liking this book. Like I said, I didn't love it. I wanted to hate it. I actually was reading it like, I hate this book. I hate every page of it. For the first few pages, I can't believe I wasted money on this. Talking like Batman hurts. I can't believe I read this book. Future's End. Anyways, let's get to the spoiler now, because now I'm giving you 45 seconds. At the end of this book, Green Arrow dies. Green Arrow is dead. And Firestorm could have saved him, and he freaking didn't because he was too worried about hooking up with a girl. That's where this Future's End book ends. Green Arrow, Oliver Queen, is living in Seattle, which is super cool because I'm from Washington State. I lived in a town called Everett, which is a small town, but anyway. So I lived about, 30 minutes away from Seattle. Oliver Queen's living in Seattle. We see the Space Needle in this comic, so that's cool. But Green Arrow's dead at the end of this book. So I'm gonna give the writing on this book a 6 out of 10. It wasn't very great at all. The writer is Brian Azzarello and the artist is Keith Griffin, I think. Dan Jurgens is on this, Jeff Lemire. So they have a good team of writers and artists. But yeah, it was all right. The first issue, I'll give a 6 out of 10. If I didn't read Futures In number 0, the free comic book day issue, I'd give this a 4 out of 10 because it was confusing as crap. But even with the writing being bad, I still liked it. It's like watching one of those reality shows on TV that you know is just horrible, but you like it anyways. That's what this was. The writing was bad, but I liked it. And I'm gonna give the arting on this I'm gonna give the art on this a 5 out of 10. There's no cool panel layouts. And Terry, as Batman Beyond, his whole suit just looks different from panel to panel, which is frustrating for me. So anyway, that's going to be coming out weekly. I will, you could tell by how much I love this book. Look at me. I'm pushing my ears in because it gives me a headache just talking about it. It comes out weekly. I will continue to read it. Let me know in the comments below if I'm just being crazy and this book was way better than I thought it was. Like I said, I'm not hating. I liked it. I don't know why, and I'll probably keep reading it, but let me know down below why you liked it or why you didn't. All right, and last up, we have Batman Eternal number 5. This is our normal team. Plot synopsis by Scott Snyder and James Tynion IV. This actual book, this issue was written by James Tynion IV, and this has art by Andy Clark. I'm not sure what exactly is going on here. I'm not confused, but this book, for the second time in a row, this issue doesn't start off where the last one left off, which is frustrating to me. Last issue did that same thing, and this issue did too. And the last issue was about Batgirl. This issue is about Red Robin. So is it safe to assume that the next few issues are going to be one-shots involved in this story with a Batman sidekicks? I think I might be good on that. If the next one comes out, next week was that? That'd be number 6. If number 6 comes out and it's another Batman sidekick one-shot story, that'll be annoying. But it's predictable because that's what we got the last 2 issues. In the last issue, Barbara Gordon as Batgirl is going out to attack who she thinks is behind getting her father being in jail. In this book, Batgirl is not even in it. As a matter of fact, we only see Batman for like 2 panels, 3 panels, or I mean pages. 3 pages in this book. We see Batman and Bruce Wayne for 3 pages. The rest of this is about Red Robin and the homegirl from the freaking newspaper who's going to end up being the Bluebird or whatever. I'm assuming that's what she's going to turn into. The new super sidekick that's going to be introduced in Batman Eternal. I'm assuming that's her. But yeah, this book either this is a continuation and it's bad storytelling of the last issue, or all these little one-shot sidekick issues are all happening at the same time with Batman weaving in and out of them, so that we see like this is what Batgirl's doing now, and this is also what Red Robin's doing now, and we're gonna have other sidekicks what they're doing now, and all those stories are gonna move together. Let's hope that's it, because if it's not, this is frustrating to read. If I read these as like a trade paperback and I just read them back to back to back, I'd be like, what, who, huh, We don't get Gordon in this book. He's in jail. That's the whole freaking it's the whole freaking point of the story, is that Gordon's in jail, the police department's taken over, Carmine Falcone, or Carmine Falcone, or however the heck you say his damn name, is taking over in the gang wars. He's got somebody above him telling him what to do, and he's telling other gangs what to do. Cobblepot and him are beefing, and then this issue happens. This does have plot devices that mean something to the story. I'm just saying that these could have been interwoven into the story that we were following already. This introduces Red Robin. to this story, Mr. Teen Titan himself. But I don't know. It's interesting. The more and more I read of these Batman Eternals, after issue 1, 2, and 3-ish, I was kind of on board, but now on 5, I'm kind of starting to dwindle on my on my care about this story arc. I'm gonna keep reading it. I'm 5 issues in, and I'm gonna keep reading it to find out what happens. But I'll tell you, at this point, I'm not excited to keep reading it. I don't understand why Gordon is not fighting more for his innocence. I don't understand, because the panel he shot that set the train off its tracks, they already talked about in the comic that's not what would... by shooting that panel, it wouldn't have done that. Like, the train wouldn't have gone off the tracks. So is everybody in Gotham insane? Like, do they not understand that? Like, there's no fact checking. They show him in court, and like, they've already talked about, by shooting that panel, the train would never have gone off its tracks anyway. So I don't understand why he's still in jail. Like, yeah, he shot a panel, and yeah, he might have turned some lights off, but like, what he did could not have done that and killed people. Like, what the heck is happening in this book? I feel like people are going crazy, and the stories, I don't know. Anyway, it's a weekly comic. They have a big plan. It started with an epic issue number 1 that was fantastic, and now, like I said last week, from week to week, we're gonna have different artists, different writers, and the feeling's gonna change, the tone's gonna change, and it's all leading in one direction. But it will not be a concise book because it's coming out weekly. I'm gonna give the writing on this book a 5 out of 10, and I'm gonna give the art on this a 7 out of 10. I did like some of the art, but it's just all right. It was cool seeing Red Robin, but they're following the same model where there's the first page is like an introduction to what the story's gonna be about. The second and third page are a splash page, and it has the writers in the middle. It's like copying pasting into a formula, like, we're gonna do this, and on the second page it's always gonna look like this, and I don't know, it's too formulaic to me, and it's all right. Anyway, that's my last comic book for the week, Batman Eternal. I'm super bummed about as you can tell, I'm super bummed by the DC runs, Batman Eternal and Future's End. I was really hoping they'd be better. I'm going to do something new this week, and I'm just going to say what my favorite comic book was the week. And my favorite comic of the week that I read was Cyclops #1. You could probably tell that by how I reviewed it and what I discussed then. But Cyclops #1 was my favorite book. It's going to be my #1 recommend for the week, and you should definitely check it out. This one does come with a bonus digital edition inside this book. So I want to give a giveaway to you guys for the free comic of this. The first person to comment down below who what the name of Cyclops' father's team, what Corsair's team name is for his pirates. First person to comment that down in the comments section, I will give you the free code to download the comic and have it on your iPad or phone or Android device or whatever. I'll give you the free comic book code. Just comment down below Cyclops' father's pirate group name, and I'll shoot you over the code, like I said. Anyways, that's it for this week's comics. If you liked my reviews, go ahead and hit the like button. That helps me out a lot. Helps other people see this video. And if you really, really liked it and you'd like to hang out with me more, like I said, click up here on this little subscribe button, the little logo, or you can click subscribe down below. That's just as easy. And leave some comments down below. What was your favorite comic book this week? What was the comic book you bought that you liked the least? And if I got anything wrong, like you want to fact check me, go ahead and comment below. I'd appreciate that. If you have any suggestions for me, like I said, I didn't read any independent comics. So if you read an independent comic this week and you loved it and you want to give me a suggestion, comment down below. I'm really trying to get into this independent game and get out of the big two of DC and Marvel. So that's it for the week, guys. Next week I will see you again, and have a great remainder of your day. Peace out.